It's over. Godzilla's beaten Kaiser and the Exilians are gone.
What?
The final war is over. We won. We survived. Look, Godzilla's leaving.
What? No! He can't leave! We just got him back! Wait! Come back! Don't go! Please don't go! You alright, kid? You're doing that deep, brooding, introspective thing. Just thinking about this video, Carl. I ran out of time and wanted to do more. Yeah, you've been through a lot these past few months. True, but I still need to say something. It's the movie's 20th anniversary, after all. Since I don't have time for a full review, I'll focus on one topic. In fact, this might have made for a good monstrous moment. And just to clarify, this isn't because OmniViewer posted a video on it a few months ago, right? No, Carl, I had planned to do something even before he uploaded his video, but I do appreciate that he's cooled on the movie since then. Still, I'd like to respond to some of his points. So, without further delay, here's my perspective on Godzilla Final Wars. 2024 marks the 20th anniversary of Godzilla Final Wars. It's hard to believe it's been that long. For those who don't know, Final Wars wasn't just Godzilla's 50th anniversary film, it was also announced as his final film. Toho executives decided to retire the character, framing this as the grand finale to the entire franchise. Your categories are things that aged poorly and hindsight is 2020. Thanks, Carl. Yes, today, with the Monsterverse and Toho's new films, the idea of Final Wars being the last Godzilla movie feels outdated. But at the time, it still carried weight, and to understand why, let's go back a bit. The story begins in the Heisei era. In the early 90s, TriStar licensed Godzilla for an American adaptation to celebrate his 40th anniversary in 1994. Toho even ended the Heisei series early to clear way for TriStar's trilogy, planning their next era of Godzilla films after 2004, bringing Godzilla back for his 50th anniversary. But when TriStar released Roland Emmerich's Godzilla in 1998, it flopped critically and alienated fans. Toho, horrified by the backlash, rushed Godzilla 2000 into production to repair the franchise. This kicked off the third and largely improvised series in the franchise, the Millennium Era, which eventually led to Final Wars. So yeah, Toho never planned for the 50th anniversary to be the end, they wanted it to be the new beginning. That changed because TriStar's failure disrupted their entire strategy. So, Final Wars was basically their way of saying, let's go big or go home. Exactly, Carl. But this leads us to an important point. While Toho planned a grand finale, few fans took it seriously. After all, Godzilla always comes back, right? But here's the thing. Final Wars marked Godzilla's longest retirement. Toho didn't bring him back until 2016, 12 years later. So you're saying that the fans shouldn't have brushed it off? Right. Toho had no reason to retire Godzilla in 2004 compared to the previous series. The Showa series ran for 20 years, and the Heisei for 11 years. The Millennium series, by comparison, only lasted 5 years. So to end the series so suddenly gave the impression that Toho really meant it this time. And it's worth noting that without the success of Legendary's Godzilla 2014, Toho might not have brought him back at all. This brings me to the movie's tone. OmniViewer recently argued that Final Wars feels more like a funeral than a celebration. And while I see his point, I disagree. To me, Final Wars is a culmination, a send-off honoring everything that Godzilla had been. It's true the ending is bittersweet, but all endings are. What sets Final Wars apart is its deliberate sense of closure. How so? Let's compare it to the other era finales. The Showa series ended abruptly with Terror of Mechagodzilla, where Godzilla just walks off into the ocean like he had in other movies before. It felt like any other ending because it wasn't planned to be the end, but because Terror of Mechagodzilla was the lowest grossing Godzilla film, Toho decided to end the Showa series. In contrast, the Heisei series concluded with Godzilla vs. Destroya, where Godzilla dies. It was dramatic and emotional, but also final. Barring the cliffhanger ending that really tried to leave things open-ended, but ultimately didn't manifest into anything. And Final Wars? It's different, Carl. Godzilla doesn't die, nor does he vanish without a word. Instead, he lets go of his vendetta against humanity. He turns and leaves, swimming off into the sunrise, symbolic of both closure and a new beginning. In a way, this makes sense to be the conclusion of Godzilla's story, because now he's made peace with mankind. Both humanity and Godzilla can now move past the trauma that they've both caused each other over the last 50 years. What makes the ending special is the final shot. Godzilla turns back, looks directly at the camera, and roars. It's as if he's addressing the audience, saying goodbye. As a kid, that moment broke my heart, but it also gave me closure. In 1975, he left without a second word and just disappeared for 10 years. In 1995, we had to watch him die. But this time, in Final Wars, Godzilla acknowledged us, his fans, one last time. We got to say goodbye, Carl. That's why it's still one of my favorite endings in the franchise. Okay, I get it now. Saying goodbye isn't just sad, it's meaningful. It gives a sense of closure. Exactly, Carl. It's like the Dr. Seuss quote, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." Never thought I'd hear Dr. Seuss and Godzilla mentioned in the same conversation. Indeed. Still, Final Wars taught me that. Getting a chance to say goodbye to Godzilla this time meant so much to me. And that's why, even after 20 years, it still holds a special place in my heart. Because getting the chance to say goodbye to Godzilla back then made it all the more special to see him again when he came back. Thank you all for watching. I am the Linkzilla. If you liked this video, please like it and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for more notifications. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Later!